a little disclaimer, this information is purely case by case. You could go to a hospital appointment and your doctor could say completely different things. This is purely my experience, what my doctor has advised me to do. So yeah. Hi guys, welcome back to another video. This week's video was just going to be more of a chill, chatty one, to be honest. I don't know if anyone remembers from my last video, but I had a hospital appointment coming up for just my regular 6-month checkup routine and just to see what's going on with my medication and whatnot. So I just thought I would update you guys on all of that shenanigans. Yesterday, quite a funny story actually. So I kept getting a call from a no caller ID, and I don't know about you guys, but I hate that. I hate that so much, and it makes me really nervous and anxious, and I'm literally like, who's calling me? So I actually declined it all 3 times, and little did I know, it was actually my nephrologist trying to call me, lol. So he actually ended up leaving me a voicemail basically saying answer your phone. So in the end I got hold of him again. We had our conversation on the phone, and that was actually my appointment, which I thought was kind of cool actually, because I don't know if anyone saw my COVID-19 video, but I did mention in there that I was kind of nervous about going to the hospital for my appointment, purely because of obviously being high risk and you don't know what germs are about, and I don't know, I was just scared. So to have that appointment over the phone was actually amazing, because it just made me feel so much more calm. I basically wanted to ask my doctor for starters about my losartan tablets. So I don't know if any of you know, but as well as cyclosporin, I am on losartan as well, which is a blood pressure medication. Now, I didn't realise that I'm not actually on these tablets for my blood pressure, which for years I genuinely thought it was because I had high blood pressure. And I did think, I was like, why am I even on these tablets? I don't have high blood pressure, because I have one of those blood pressure monitor machines, and I literally do my blood pressure every morning, and it's normal. So I was thinking why am I on these tablets? Anyway, I basically told my doctor that every time I took these tablets, I literally would stand up and I'd feel like I'd be pass out, and it's just not cool, you know? And I have suffered from hypertension previously from when I was on prednisolone. I don't know if anyone else got that, but I really got really bad hypertension. But I think with the prednisolone, that might have raised my blood pressure to cause hypertension. I'm not sure. These were the tablets that I was on. It's just the losartan potassium 25mg film coated tablets. I've been on those since I started any medication, maybe 3 years ago, and I was just sick of feeling dizzy, to be honest. I was just sick of it, and I don't want to have to stand up and then do that thing where you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna pass out, and then have to sit back down again. It's really annoying. I actually stopped losartan last week, even before I'd had the conversation with my doctor, because honestly, I couldn't cope anymore with it. And I know it's not recommended to suddenly stop medication that your doctor's given you, but I really could not cope anymore with feeling that low in myself actually, and having to stand up and sit down every time I wanted to stand up and walk about the flat. It just got really frustrating, to be honest. So I actually stopped it, and from then I religiously, every day since I stopped it, took my blood pressure, because obviously, lol, I thought it was for my blood pressure. But then I accidentally ate smoked salmon, which sounds really not that illegal, but in my circumstance, it was bad. So I bought smoked salmon, because I was like, you know what I haven't had for ages? Smoked salmon. And it's like, girl, there is a reason why you didn't have smoked salmon for years. Literally, I was really bad. I didn't check the label. I didn't do any of the rules that I usually do. I was like, yeah, this is nice. I'll just have a bit of smoked salmon on a bagel. And then I'd eaten it, and then I read the packaging, which slapped myself on the wrist. I should have done that before. And it literally said, oh god, this mortified me. Per 100 grams of smoked salmon, there was 3.3 grams of salt. You can't make this stuff up. Like, I didn't realise how much salt went into smoked salmon. Like, man, like, it tasted really good, don't get me wrong, I love a bit of smoked salmon, but I did not realise how much salt I was consuming in one go. So to me, that's just not worth it, you know? Like, there are some things that are worth it and some things that aren't, and smoked salmon isn't one of them. And literally the day after, I noticed that my urine got really frothy. Now, that worried me because then I didn't know if my urine was frothy because I had stopped taking the losartan and maybe I had a protein leak again and a relapse, or because my kidneys were trying to process all the water that had the salt in it from the smoked salmon. And this story sounds absolutely ridiculous, but it's like, it worried me so much because I thought, oh damn, I don't really want to have another relapse right now because I've been doing so well for the last two and a bit years. And it did really worry me. So once I noticed that my urine had a little bit of bubbles in it, I was like, you know what, I'm not taking any risks and I'm going to start taking the losartan again. So by that point, I think it had only been about 3 days, not even that. So really, it shouldn't have had that much of a big effect, but I worry too much, so I just took the losartan again. But then literally, like, as soon as I took it, basically, I just felt awful. So I carried on taking it until yesterday. So back to the main story, which was my on the phone appointment. I said, look, this is happening. I explained the whole smoked salmon story. I share a lot with my doctor because I feel like he needs to know, because it's important to tell them more stuff and be honest with them, because to be honest, I wasn't going to tell him because I didn't want him to be like disappointed in me for eating that much like salt in one go by accident. But then I thought, no, Jazz, he's your doctor. He knows best. If you just tell him the truth, then he'll get a bigger understanding of why, A, you've stopped the losartan, and B, why you think you had frothy urine. So I said, look, XYZ's happening, what do I do? And straight away he said, stop the losartan. I was like, oh, interesting. And I was like, but can you like just stop it just like that? And he was like, yeah, fine, like no problem. I said, oh, well, I'd been explaining that I've been taking my blood pressure readings since I like stopped taking them myself. And he was like, no, that doesn't matter, like it doesn't affect your blood pressure in a sense that like you're not on these tablets because of your blood pressure. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I asked him, why am I on these tablets? Because I genuinely didn't know why I was putting these chemicals in my body if they were really essentially not for the purpose that they're made for. And he basically said they're almost like an extra aid to the cyclosporin to stop your the protein leak. And I was like, oh, interesting. But then I got really worried because I was like, hold on, if this is an extra aid, surely I should still be on them. But he was like, no, it's fine because it's worse that you're having the side effect of feeling dizzy all the time. He said that's not good. So I guess like I'm just not on them now and I've stopped them. He said in a sense that because my blood pressure was normal, it was so normal that when I did take the tablets, because they are for blood pressure, it took my blood pressure too low. So that's why I felt dizzy and I was going to pass out every single time I stood up. So that explains that. But yeah, going forward from that, he obviously needs blood tests and urine samples to know what to do next. And because I thought I was going to the hospital today, I thought that I was just going to get it done at the hospital. But obviously that's not the plan anymore. And he actually said that when I get my bloods done, I have one of two choices. So usually I could either go to my local GP to get my blood test done, or I could go to my local hospital where he works to get my blood test done. And I was like, oh, brilliant, okay. Because at the moment, because obviously I was working on a ship for ages, and then before that I lived in London, I'm not actually registered with my local GP, which again, slap on the wrist, Jazz, you need to do that. So I asked him, what is the procedure for getting a blood test done, because I thought, I don't know how this is going to work with social distancing, especially with people in like the waiting room. And I know you can probably like sit people 2 meters apart, but I feel like if you're high risk, that's really not, like, that's not good enough, basically. So I was like, okay, so how does that procedure work? And he said that if I get it done at the hospital, then what happens is I book to say that I would like a blood test done on a specific day, and then what they do is they'll give me a slot and they'll give me a time, so that could be like between 8:30 and whenever they close. And what happens is, because we're high risk, we go in, well, actually, I don't think it is even if you're just high risk. I think it's just anyone who wants a blood test. And he said that you have the ticket, and for example, if your slot is 8:40 and someone else before you is at 8:30, the person before you will go in. So it's literally, they'll go in, have the blood test done, they go out, no one else is in that building, then you go in. So essentially it's one in, one out, so on, so on. I thought, oh, that's really good. And then he said, or if you still don't want to do that, then he knows that the hospital actually can get nurses and phlebotomists to go to your house and do your bloods. And I was like, oh, that's really good. But I just didn't know if my local GP did that. So after we ended the phone call, I then thought, okay, Jazz, you need to register with your local GP. So I rang up my local GP and I asked them what's the best way to re-register, because obviously I don't really want to come into the practice because I am high risk and I don't really feel comfortable going into a doctor's surgery right now. The girl was really, really nice on reception, and she advised me to go online and Google their GP, and they had like an online, I think it's called a purple form, I'm not sure, but anyway, I had to fill that in, and then I had to fill in their own personal forms and just literally just email them back, like email them the forms, and then I was done. And I was like, oh, brilliant. Like, if I knew that before, then I never would have gone into the GP to do it in the first place, like years ago. And then I asked her as well if the GP did the service of the whole like one in, one out for the bloods. And what she said was actually really interesting. So she said that for the GP that I wanted to re-register with, if you're high risk, then what happens is if you need to have a blood test done, then before the GP even opens, and usually it opens about 8 a.m. So before that, so maybe like 7 a.m, 6:30, they'll actually open the surgery, and if you're high risk, you obviously queue outside 2 meters apart, and it's the whole like one in, one out service, so that you're not in contact with anyone else apart from the phlebotomist. And I was like, oh, that's brilliant. And then again, she said, and if you're not comfortable doing that, then we can arrange for a local nurse or phlebotomist to come to your flat to do your bloods. And I thought, oh my God, that's really good. So yeah, I'm just waiting to have the approval that my registration's been done, etc, etc. Then I can book my blood tests and hand in some urine samples. And by that time, my nephrologist in the hospital can then see my results, and I guess we'll take it from there, because at the moment, the only thing that's happened is I've come off the losartan since yesterday. When this video's out, it would have been last Thursday, because obviously it's Monday today when you're watching this. And I guess from there, he's just gonna see what happens. Stay tuned and find out what happens, I guess. So today's video was just literally a quick catch up on what's going on with my health and everything, because I do like to document it on YouTube so that even I can go back and watch that and be like, oh yeah, that happened at that time. But if you did like this video, then please come back, subscribe to my channel, come on this big journey with me, because man, it's gonna be a big journey. And on that note, guys, I will see you sometime soon. Bye!